Hey, hello there. Sorry for the audio. They're cutting grass next door, and the fan's blowing, and I got the door open, a little extra breeze blowing through. I got the tuners on, the newer tuners. They working, they fit just fine. The fifth tuner, I kind of had a hard time getting on there, or getting it in there, so I had to kind of wheel it out the hole a little bit, wallow it out a little bit with a file and a drill bit. Then I ended up having to file the back end of this tuner shaft down, the tuner, a little bit on the table grinder, and to get it to go in there. So it's in there pretty daggum snug. I don't think it's not gonna pop out. And if it does, I'm gonna go ahead and go against some better judgment and put glue on it. So all these tuners, they work just fine. They're good and smooth. And y'all probably have never seen this up here, but that's Monroe brand Banjo. I had that little clip thing here that used to hold a GoPro when I used to do when I did the how-to videos and stuff. I wanted to try to do a different camera angle to show down the neck as I was playing. But anyway, now we're gonna change out the banjo head, and I'm gonna do this hopefully pretty quick here. I gotta get all this off. I gotta get this off. I'm gonna put on a new strap too. I'm gonna change everything. We're gonna give it an upgrade. I ain't gonna clean it right now, but I'll clean it a little later. But we're gonna give it a new banjo head, new tuners. You gotta reward on your banjos a little bit every once in a while, you know. I can't even figure out my own knots to these things, so I'm gonna take this off for the first time in probably 4 years. I've had this strap attached to this, so we're going to take the strap off. I'll be right back. Alright, got the strap off. Now we'll take this armrest off. These pieces have been on here for a while. They're a little stubborn, so when y'all see my stuff before, you know it's never that easy. You can take this stuff off. Yep, there it went. Got it. Lay it there on the table. Get this piece out and put it on the table. Keep everything together, even the socket that I used to take it off. Now, it doesn't look like I'm going to have to, but I might a little bit have to loosen up my neck a little bit to get this off. So I'm just going to take this nut here and kind of twist a little bit, kind of loosen it up to get it up off the banjo. Get it off this banjo rim, because it's resting right up against it, and it might wedge it a little bit, so I'm going to try to loosen that up to get that off. If I can find, just loosen it up. There it goes. It's been so long since it's been loosened up. This banjo head's been on here for I think about 5 years. It's been on there. I'm able to move that back and forth now. I'm going to screw this out just a little, and that way I can move the neck off of there without it tearing up the or getting wedged on the thing. Now, why do I got wood and the threads of that screw? That shouldn't be there. Strange. But anyway, now we're just start taking the strings off. See, that's too big. I need a smaller size. We could use a socket. There it is. Got a socket for it. I'm gonna start twisting these. What you do is you just loosen these up. These are what's hanging onto it, the hooks. It's what's hanging onto this banjo rim, which is holding tension on the head. So we're just gonna go ahead and loosen all them up and take them off. So I'm gonna do that and come back to you. I'm halfway there. I already loosened up the tail pieces as much as I could. It's kind of stuck, so I might have a little bit of a problem. Some of this stuff hasn't been taken off in 5 years to put this on. Tail piece has been on there since I bought it, and I put that on there when I first bought it. And I like a no-knot tail piece. I don't like a whole lot of stuff I got to keep adjusting and mess with. I don't like a whole lot of artillery on these. I like a good simple instrument. It's very simple. We're just loosening these up. I don't even know if the banjo head I got can fit on here. I'm doing this anyway. Y'all gonna find out with it. You can just hear the banjo breathing some sigh of relief. It's letting off all that tension. It's breathing. And I'm gonna go through as soon as I get this done and retighten a lot of bolts and screws, especially these bolts around the rim, because you let the tension off now, and so they're not going to be as taut and firm as they would be underneath tension. So you're going to make sure they're still snug inside the brackets here. And once I get the banjo head on, then I'll go and clean it up real good. But I'm going to kind of just get this on here. If I got to clean up underneath the old banjo head, I will, because there's probably some dust embedded up inside there. It's been 5 years. I imagine there is. This ain't too hard to do. Don't be afraid to do this. You've really got to be out to tear up the banjo to be able to do any damage to it. They're really forgiving. They really are a forgiving instrument. So don't be afraid to set it up, change your own banjo heads, and do this. Little turns there. Alright, so let me get these hooks off. Now, a lot of times, a lot of people will go ahead and just take these hooks all the way off the rim and like take them all the way out. I'm not going to do that. I'll just go ahead and loosen them up some more to where I can just take one and twist it and leave it hanging. It's a lot easier for me to reassemble the head that way. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do all that, come back, get the head off here for you. Alright, so now I got the hooks off. Now we're going to go ahead and pull the head out. I think. There it goes. It's coming off. Gotta hold things with your neck. I've got to be all over the place contortionist. Take time with it. Make one last ditch effort to hang in there. Ew. You know, I said I wasn't going to, but I think I will. Go ahead and clean this off. The hoop's nasty. I'm going to clean this up real good. I know I said I wouldn't. And there's the banjo head. And it does have a little bit of good wobbliness to it. It's been stretched out for so long. And it just feels paper thin. So it just... The plastic was really getting tired. Compared to this one, it's got a little bit more firmness to it. Now this one actually, the story behind this banjo head, it came off of one of the banjos that I got to sell. And I went ahead and changed out the banjo head on it and for a video. And this one hasn't really been under any kind of tension, even though it's used. The person that had the banjo didn't have it set up properly, and this thing was still this soft on the banjo. I wonder why they couldn't really get it to sound right and play right. So I'm not worried about it being used, because it really wasn't a whole lot of tension put on it, so it wasn't really wearing out. So I'm going to go ahead and use this too. Hopefully it fits. And it looks like it does. Perfect. So this guy, I'm going to give it to my wife to paint or something, do some arts and crafts with. I've done that before. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and go through and clean this up while I got the banjo head off of here. I can really get to easy places. I said I wasn't going to do it until I had it on there, but looking at it right now, it is about as disgusting as it can be down here, especially underneath the banjo head here. Let me just take a look, take a gander at things while we have the head and stuff off. Make sure the pot is okay. And it still seems straight. Morgan Monroe, even though it is kind of a lower end instrument, it's a few $100s for these Morgan Monroes. I know this one was when I bought it. They, instead of putting tone rings, they actually go ahead and do cutaway in your pot. See that? And there's less surface tension on the banjo head, and you really get a good resonation out of it. And that's really awesome about these Morgan Monroes. That's why I fell in love with this. It's simple. It's not a whole lot of expensive stuff. There's the tuners with it to put on here, and it's handled my abuse over the years. And as far as how often you change banjo heads, this one here is 5 years old, like I said, and it's starting to wear out. So depending on how much you play and things of that nature, you can probably get a good long lifespan out of these. I know I had one on there, and I had it on there until it popped, broke, and it looks like this one, yeah, it was fixing to anyway. I don't know if y'all can see right there in the back. There's kind of a little seam happening there. Looks like it was fixing to at any point start ripping and tearing. I had one pop on me one time under tension like that. It was something else, but I mean, it was cracked. So I mean, it depends on how often you play. If you're one who plays concerts all the time, big shows, you want to change. You probably change banjo heads real often because they'll do wear out, the vibrations, and constantly being under stretch and stretching out. Because you really are. You're stretching the plastic out. You know, when you put them on here, you're putting them down. You know, putting tension on them. So that depends on your preference. If you just want to go ahead and feel like you need to change them, change them. I usually don't. My philosophy is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But here, it's been 5 years since I've done it, and I know at some point I need to go ahead and do it, so that's what I'm doing now. So let's go ahead and get this cleaned up, get the new banjo head on here. Just wiping it down. Go ahead and do that, especially if you're one that don't change the banjo heads about every 1,000 years. Go ahead while you have it apart, clean it up real good. I'm just painting it up where the banjo head's pretty much going to lie, where it's going to be underneath it and everything. And then once I get it all thing back together, I'm going to give it a proper polishing and clean up the frets and all that stuff on it. Really bring it out, make it brand new looking. Wipe out the inside the pot down here where it don't feel as disgusting. Get that right there. Right there, don't lose my socket. I need you. Alright, now you can see where the neck and the pot's kind of bent. This is where I had the action set on the banjo. It's tapered back. But I'm ready to put the banjo head on now. I gotta clean this hoop up first. I mean, it feels gummy. That's how bad it is. So I'm just gonna go around it, clean it up real good, get all that nasty grime shit off of it. Banjo at one point, look at all that came off of it. I'll show you all that, you can see it. All that nastiness just came off this ring, this hoop, off this tension hoop. Clean it up real good, and also it will affect how your banjo sounds. You get enough dust caked up on it, it really hurts the resonance. It's just caked up. So, banjo head's a little dusty, a little stained up from being outside, but it's not going to hurt anything. Work that down so I can get that worked down. Turn it around here. Come on. Come on. Turn around. Alright, there you go. That kind of helps you hold it in place. Mash it down. Get that straight. Make sure, I always like to make sure that Remo insignia is kind of straight down the line. You don't have to, but it won't hurt. Alright, so what I do now is I take, to help get it set, just hold my hand like this for a second and then get one of these up. Loosen it up some more. Get it up, tall enough. Come on. One more. Come on. Well, just get on there. Get all kinds of order. Get on there. Aha, gotcha. Do the same thing to this side. mashing down a little bit until you get the hooks up. And there, you come to the back end and do the same thing. Around. Here. Come on. You just did. It's sometimes ornery to do this, but you just got to have some patience. Maybe once you get up there to it, maybe just take the pliers on the bottom end, kind of give you some more oomph behind your hand here. And just, come on. Ornery, you've got company. I got it wedged, hang on. It's not its fault, it's my fault. It's something I did. I got it wedged. Sometimes it does this, so you just gotta be patient. And come on in there. Yeah, you just gotta be patient. It happens. Alright, we should just be able to twist around. He's pretty tall up there. Come on. Oh. That one came completely off. Look at the washer go. Uh-oh. That's not good. He just came completely out of there. That's good. Oh, these don't have washers on them. Okay. I thought I lost the washer. Alright, we got that. Now we got them turned around. What we're going to do is we're going to start to screwing this down like this. To kind of help bring the head down a little lower. To be able to do this. Matter of fact, hang on. I might need to go ahead. How many minutes am I at? 17. Alright, so what I'm going to do now to save time, I got 6 of them set. These 2 here, 1 on each side, and I got 2 of them on the tailpiece here set. I'm going to start backing this banjo head down now so I can get the rest of them on there. And once I do that, I'll come back to you. Alright, again, to save you time, this video's getting kind of long, I'm going to go ahead, now that I got kind of here, I kind of got the banjo head down to a certain tightness. Now I can start working. It's easier to work the other brackets on. The reason I did this is to lower it down, so I won't have to keep fighting to try to get these brackets set. I can just do these few here, tighten them down, and bring the banjo head down, the length of this hoop down, so I can get the other ones on there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll come back to you. Alright, so now the time has come to go ahead and do the tension on the banjo head. Some players, they tighten them down to a note. I just get them good and snug. I go ahead and get them as tight as I can get them before I'm afraid they bust. Pretty much. I like a good, bright tone out of it. But this particular banjo head's not really going to get me a bright tone. It depends on the selection of head that you get. This is the top frost. This is primarily the most popular one that banjo players get because it delivers a bright tone for 3-finger style and stuff like that. And that's what I would like. But so this banjo head here, I'm already expecting probably to give me a little bit of a more mellow, warmer tone. But that's okay, because I got it for the low cost of nothing. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. And as you're tightening it, you can tap on it. But you can actually hear it through every turn and crank of the bolt. You can actually hear the banjo head getting tighter. You can actually hear it through the banjo. And I probably went ahead and messed myself up by tightening this bolt down all the way. I probably need to go ahead and loosen that back up, because it's got to draw the banjo head down, and this might actually put it in a bind. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen that up a little ways. Anyway, so what I do, that way I don't take too much more of your time. You take your little wrench that you get, if you start up here, you want to go and cross from each other. Here, you go to here. Here, you go to here. Here, and here. And the same story all the way through. it makes sure that the head gets an even tension all around. You might have some few loose ones here that you might have to keep going back through and tightening it down, and things like that. So what I do, quarter turn, stop, come on down to this one. And this one's really loose, so I'm gonna have to give a few more, because this one's really loose to the point to where it's, I can turn that by hand. So once you get it snug to where you don't have to turn it by hand anymore, where you can't turn it by hand anymore, do a quarter turn on the wrench. I'm up here, quarter turn. I'm up here. Now that one's really loose. It's pretty loose, but I just feel it grab, so I'm just gonna do one more quarter turn. After I feel it grab, I'm going to do a quarter turn. I'm up to the third one, which is pretty loose, so I'm going to go ahead and do about right there, quarter turn on that. I'm up to the third one. On this side, do the same thing. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now this is really, that's pretty free spinning. Alright, it just grabbed right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a quarter turn after it grabs. I'm up to the fourth one, and I can turn this one by hand. It's really loose. And just quarter turn after you feel it grab, do a quarter turn. We're going to come up to this fourth one here, and it's really loose. So we're just going to go ahead, grabs right there. Then you do a quarter turn after that. Come up to this one on this side, and they're going to get loose as it goes on because the banjo is being drawn down, so they're going to be loose. Like see how that one's pretty wobbly itself. We're going to come to this one. It's really loose. Just expect that to happen. Let's come to this one. And I'll do it all the way around one full rotation and show you, and then I'm going to pause the video and come back to you. That one's kind of tight. So you just do a quarter turn on that one. Now this one's kind of loose. Grabs, quarter turn. Come to this guy. He's pretty loose. Right there, it grabs. Quarter turn. Come to this guy. It's pretty loose. Grabs. Quarter turn. This guy. Quarter turn because he was already kind of snug. And then this guy. Or is it this guy? That's this guy. He's really loose. Alright, he grabs right there. Quarter turn. Come to the third fella, or the second fella, or vice versa. I think I got off kiss center here somehow. Quarter turn. I think I got to come to this one next, and I do. He's loose. I got two behind here. So I'm going to go ahead, because I got behind, and tightening it, I'm going to go ahead and come up here. Grabs, quarter turn. Grabs right there. Quarter turn. This guy's loose, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten him up. Because you want all these to be even tensioned. So you can already hear the banjo head already starting to get drawn down where it's tight. So I'm going to do this, I'm going to continue this process. Here, crisscross, until the banjo head gets tight. I'm going to come back to you. So after I get these tightened up, I'm going to go through and tighten these bolts in this pot down. As you can already tell, she's getting tighter. But what I'm doing is I notice this side is a little higher than this side, so I'm trying to focus more attention on getting these down a little further and then I'll continue the process here. So I'm going through these right here to get these down a little more to draw that banjo head down. But I'm getting uneven. And you want even tension around the banjo. Alright, so now that's really loose. Tighten him up. Look at it. And I noticed, now when I noticed that I finally got this side even with this side, I can continue my process. I'm going to do that and come back to you. Alright, so the banjo head's nearly tight enough. Even though I still see the ring poking up, it's okay though. I'm getting it nice and tight, so I think it still feels kind of soft right in there. So a few more rotations, and I probably should have it right where I need it to be. And some people tune this up to a note, and about the easiest way that I can do it for the equipment that I got is you just go ahead and tune it up to pitch when you get your strings on, and then pick a note that you want to tune it to. If you want to tune it to a G or a C or whatever, however, a G sharp or whatever, just match that particular note down on the fretboard and play the string and see if it, because you can actually, if you can listen through the tapping, you can actually hear a note being played. But I'm going to go through another couple of rotations on tightening it down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the last thing you want to do is you want to go through and make sure everything is tight. You know how we do before you do the string change. You want to do it here. You want to make sure everything's good and snug, because banjos are a tension instrument. So you want to, I showed you this before, just go through these bolts, make sure they're snug down, make sure your neck's snug down. You don't want to over tighten anything, just good and snug, make sure it's straight and it's sitting where it needs to be. I probably need to raise mine up to about right there-ish, and make sure it's right where I want it. But I'm going to take my pliers and I am going to lock it in place where I want it. Go ahead and put that screw where it goes. I'm going to take my pliers and turn it right where I want it. You just want to get it snug. You know, if you're starting to round off the nuts, you're going too far. So just nice and snug. It'll hold, I promise. And I'll just twist that to where it's straight, at least flush to the neck. Probably need to hit that again with the wrench because she's doing some moving. Get snug. There it is. Alright, so this concludes this part of the banjo redo here. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to restring this puppy and see how she sounds with the new tuners and the banjo head. It's not hard to do these banjo head changes. I know it looks kind of scary to you, but don't be afraid. Just do it. Watch tutorial videos. They're all over YouTube. You're watching me, obviously, but that sounds perfect to me, and it's good and tight. It's not to the point where it's fixing to snap, but it's good and tight to where if I put the strings on it, it's going to be a little bit of give. The banjo bridge is probably going to sag down in the middle, but that's okay. The strings are matching down in it. And once I get the bridge on here, get the strings on here, then I'll go through it and do the last final touches and adjustments that I need. Alright, so goodbye, and keep playing, guys.